Welcome to the National Alopecia Areata Foundation's webinar, Empowered Choices, Navigating Your Alopecia Areata Journey. Joining us today is Dr. Juanita Hosh Martin, and I'm Judy Williams, Support and Education Director for NAF. Before we start the webinar, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping details. We have disabled chat for this webinar session, so please post questions for Dr. Martin in the Q&A section. Please keep your questions as general as possible for the benefit of all audience members. This webinar is being recorded and all registrants will receive a link to the recording via email sometime tomorrow. And finally, please share your feedback with us. After the webinar, a link to a short survey will pop up in your browser window, so please complete the survey there. This webinar is part of NAF's You Are Not Alone Education and Empowerment webinar series. NAF gratefully acknowledges the support provided for this webinar series by our partners Pfizer, Eli Lilly and Company, and Sun Pharma. And before we get started, I'd like to tell you a little bit about NAF and our mission. The National Alopecia Areata Foundation is the leading advocacy organization for alopecia areata. NAF's mission is to drive research to find a cure and accessible treatments for alopecia areata, support those impacted, and educate the public about the disease. NAF's vision is an empowered community with the choice to embrace or live free of alopecia areata. To learn more about NAF support resources and research and advocacy activities, or to join us as an advocate or supporter, please visit our website at naf.org. And now on to today's webinar, Empowered Choices, Navigating Your Alopecia Areata Journey. We are very pleased to have Dr. Juanita Martin with us today. Despite the odds, educator and school counselor, Dr. Juanita Martin has lived a life of resilience. At a very young age, she was diagnosed with alopecia areata. As a teenager, Dr. Martin found hope by reading brochures from the early days of the National Alopecia Areata Foundation. And today, Dr. Martin is humbled by the journey of living with alopecia areata and working through tremendous adversities. She has worked in the area of education for more than 25 years with the motto of the importance of lifelong learning, building positive relationships, finding resilience, strength, and service to others. Dr. Martin has been married for 32 years to her husband and is the mother of a daughter and a son who are currently university students. Dr. Martin, thank you for being here today, and now I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Judy. Hello, NAF community. I am excited to be here, and thank you so much for coming and being intentional about making choices. So I am an educator, I'm a wife, I am a mother, a daughter, a sister, a family member, but equally as important, I am a part of this resilient and very strong community. So if you have not met me before, I just want to warn you, for those of you that already know me, it's quiz time. Okay, so I'm going to give you all a very, very short quiz. So as we look at my PowerPoint, I have a quiz that I would like for you all to do. It will only take about a few seconds. Tell me, how many decisions does the average adult make each day? Give me a heart for option A, which is 2,000 and 3,000. A thumbs up for B, if it is 17,000 to 23,000. A celebration, if it is 33,000 to 35,000. And a laugh out loud, if it is 96,000 to 101,000. I'm just gonna, oh, look at that screen. It is lighting up with a bunch of answers. Okay, so the actual answer is, drum roll, it is C. It is 33,000 to 35,000. And for all of you all that got that correct, I want to give you a hand clap. And for those of you that did not get it correct, I just want to tell you one thing. There are no failing grades here. It's all about learning and growth when you come to my sessions. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story. I can't exactly tell you when I was diagnosed with alopecia, but I can tell you that these photographs actually give me some type of reference as far as the time frame. As you can see, I in that first photograph, I was graduating from, I believe, kindergarten, and it was very great for me to graduate from kindergarten because I absolutely did not want to be at that school. I cried every day, and so you see the picture right below is a picture of my mother placing my hat on my head, and at that point she was also making decisions, some very difficult decisions, because my father had passed away about 3 or 4 months before. And she was, at the time that he passed away, she was an at home mother who took care of all 7 children. And so she had very difficult decisions to make about what she would do to take care of herself and also to take care of us. I can tell you a couple of years after that photograph was taken, I actually found a very small dime size patch of hair loss in the back of my head. And it was smooth, it was round, it was very mysterious because I could not figure out what was going on. And so it never really got any better. We kind of waited to see what was going to happen with it, and it never got any better because, for one, we didn't have a lot of choices, options, or choices that we can make because, as I stated, my father had passed away, and we just were thrown into situational poverty, and we were just making it the best way that we could. So eventually, my mother told my older sister to take me to the community hospital. And we set out early one morning and we walked down a very narrow street in our neighborhood to the city bus. And from the city bus, we rode across the city to the community hospital. We sat in a waiting room and waited all day long to be able to get some answers, and we did not receive any answers. At the time, this was probably in the early 70s. Actually, it was like 50 years ago. I know that I probably don't look it, but I am 56 years old. And so it was actually more than 50 years ago that I was actually headed to the hospital trying to figure out what was going on. We left the hospital and we did not receive any answers. We got on the city bus, rode back across the city, back to the bus stop, and we walked down the narrow street in my neighborhood. And it was something that we were still trying to figure out because it was uncertain. So when I look at that street and how I actually realized that I was losing my hair, it was a narrow path of uncertainty. So let me fast forward a little bit. And as you can see, the photograph in the middle is a photograph of me, probably in the ninth grade. And so most of my time from the time I left at City Hospital up until middle school, my hair would grow, come out, grow, come back out again, grow again. It just would go from one part of my scalp to another part of my scalp. But I never gave up on thinking that it would not grow back again. I was very optimistic about my hair growing back. And I can remember in middle school, I heard the story. This was the first time I ever heard the story of Madam C.J. Walker. It was during Black History Month, and I heard about Madam C.J. Walker and her challenges with hair loss and how she took different options and chose different things in order to try to make her hair grow back. And it made me very optimistic about my situation with alopecia. Now, Madam C.J. Walker, she had to do some trials and errors. She had to go back and forth and decide, will this option work best? Let me choose another option. And so this is what caused her to actually have such a great legacy, because she found options, she worked with what she had, and she chose what she needed in order to make her life a lot better. So I want to show you the last photograph, which is a photograph of me as I was graduating from high school. And as you all can see, my hair was pretty much out in different areas. We used gel, whatever we could use to camouflage, maybe sometimes some black spray. I can remember when I first was able to go to the dermatologist. My family was able to get up some money, and I went to the dermatologist. And that's when I found out I had alopecia. I had the answers that I needed, I had the options that I needed, I had choices that I can choose from. I actually had a treatment plan, but most of all, I had a brochure from the National Alopecia Foundation. This made me realize that there is a community that could help me as I navigate through this journey of alopecia. Now, I want to show you the next photograph. This is a photograph of me when I got married. Now, when I was in high school, I met my husband, but a few years later, we began to date. So I fully disclosed to him that I had alopecia. He probably could figure it out anyway because it was very visible. So when we got married, this is the wedding date, I had patches throughout my scalp. My sister did a great job of finger waving my hair with gel just to try to get different areas covered up. But in the back, if you look at the second photograph, you can see all of my hair is out across the back. It actually was more of a dollar shape. It was huge. However, we got married. We got married. But a week after we got married, my hair began to come out in large clumps in my hand. And it was very devastating because remember, I was a newlywed, and it just did not feel good as a woman, having hair to just fall out in my hand. But my husband told me one thing. He said, I chose for better or worse. And I appreciate him for all of those options that he could have had, but instead he chose for better or worse. Now, I want to go to the next slide because I want to remind you in the 70s, when I began this journey, I didn't have a choice of treatment. I didn't have a desirable hairstyle. Diagnosis, education was not there. In a support group, who ever heard of a support group for me and my situation in the 70s? It just was not really heard of, especially with our financial situation. So I did what I could. Most of the time, I wore my hair the same way, just pulled back in a bun. I would take a bun and just put it on the back with bobby pins, so you could not see the area that was out. And I'm going to have to show you what I had a choice of. Let's go to the next slide. This pretty much was my choice back in the day. I did not have, I could not have the option of, I know, I could not have the option of having a wig that was very appealing for me as a young female going through adolescence, young adulthood. I really did not have those options. And as you can tell, the color wasn't good, the cut wasn't good. It just was not something that was appealing to me. It was not an option that I would actually look at because it was not appealing. When you look at options, you have to look at what is appealing to you, what is comfortable to you, what do you need, what do you want. And those wigs, I did not like them. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the choices that you can actually make when you're actually looking at how you can make choices. Okay. When you're looking at your options, you want to kind of get them down to the point of you want to get them down so detailed that when you make your choice, you really feel good about your choice. So, what I want you to do is to actually look through this slide and see, is there anything that you are here seeking answers for? Are you looking for something that deals with bullying prevention, financial planning, disclosure? What are you trying to make a decision about? Now, just so we as a community can know why most people are here tonight and what you're actually trying to make a choice of, let's go ahead and take a poll. So we're going to put a poll up. And I just want you to give us an answer. We're going to take about 1 minute. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close the poll. And I want to see you all's answers. Can everyone see the answers?
You might have to read them out loud.
Okay, okay. So where I see most of the largest percentage is resilience building. Also, I see insurance coverage at 23% of the group. Educational resources at 24%. And school involvement actually falls at the bottom. None of these answers are incorrect. It just means that's what we're kind of having a problem with, and we are challenged with, and we're just trying to figure it out. And that's the reason why we're having this webinar, just so that you would have a guide to understand how you can actually figure out what your options are and how to choose. So, decision making is actually a process. What you have to do is put the pieces together just so that you can figure out how it works for you. Now, you may have to take the pieces apart, reassemble them. It does not matter because it's you, it's personal to you. And so once you start putting pieces together, things may change just a little bit, and that's okay. And once they change, then you just make some adjustments. So I want to talk about needs versus wants. Needs are actually essential for our well-being. Our wants are our desires to enhance our quality of life. So let's make this applicable to alopecia as an example. If you play any type of sport and say you need a sweatband just to catch the perspiration that's coming off of you, well, that's a need. But if you put a cool logo or design on there, that is a want, okay? So when you're putting that together, do you think that you can actually put both together, needs and wants? Give me a thumbs up if you can. I think that although we have alopecia, we have our needs, but we also are entitled to our wants. It may not go just right, but at least we can try to put them together. But our first choice is needs, and then we can move on to wants. So when we're talking about non-negotiables, non-negotiables are things that you just will not tolerate. You just won't do it. One of my non-negotiables is I do not like people that disrespect other people just based off who they are, how they look. I just don't like it. And a lot of that is from my personal experience. I also do not like if I am going for service and say there is somebody that just is not nice. That is a non-negotiable for me. What about you? Think about what your non-negotiables are as you navigate through alopecia. I'm gonna give you just a moment to think about that. Okay, now there is another part in order for you to make choices. That next part is your support system. I want you to kind of think about who is your support system. Who can you depend on? Who can you call when you need something? I always say that my support system is made up of a few people. And it's okay if you only have one person, but here's how I structure my support system. I choose those people that are knowledgeable about whatever I am trying to decide on. I also choose those people that have wisdom. And I also choose the person that, just need to just kind of wrap their arms around me and just tell me, you know what, whatever choice you decide, I am there to support you. But also another part of that is that you have what you need when it comes to support. You need those tools in your toolbox, whether that is knowledge, whether that is things that you may need, items, that is what you use as your support. Now, what do you value? What do you value? We all have a value system, and that value system is what our heart feels. It actually is the pulse of how we make decisions. So I want to look at the next slide, which will show you some values. I placed them in categories. I took a list and then I placed them in categories as best as I could. So look through the different categories and see what really appeals to you about what you're trying to make a decision about. Is it personal growth and development? Is it emotional well-being, adaptability and creativity? Or is it health? What is your most important value when it comes to you navigating through this challenging condition of alopecia? We're at poll time again, people. I want to do another poll. So here we go. Choose the one that you are trying to make a personal, which is a personal value category that is most important to you. Is it personal growth and development, emotional well-being, adaptability and creativity, or is it health? I'm going to give you about 45 seconds to choose an answer. Okay, we're going to look at the answers and see. Oh, wow, yes, emotional well-being, yes. Emotional well-being at 56%. That means that a majority of us are actually, yes, yeah. The majority of us are concerned about our emotional well-being. Next, we have health. The third one is personal growth and development. And the last one is adaptability and creativity. And when we're talking about creativity, we're actually talking about maybe the way that we present ourselves and being our natural, authentic self. Despite hair loss, we are still our authentic self. All right. So let's look at the definition of options, or some of the things that options actually give us. Options are the possibilities, it's what's available, and it also offers variety. Remember back in the 70s, I had none of that. No possibility, no availability of a lot of things that are available today. And I definitely did not have a variety. But when we look at choices, because first we look at the options, and then from the options, we determine what is the best choice. Because with options, we're also looking at what are the pros and the cons. A lot of times when I'm looking at the pros and the cons, I will also rank them from 1 to 3. And that's how I can actually eliminate some of the things that maybe I don't even want as a choice anymore. So as we look at choice, choice is the action of deciding. It is actually the action, okay? We take 2 or more options. It's our preference that we choose. It's based on our values. And the most important thing is it just gives us freedom. And I think that's very important when we have alopecia. You want to not feel like you are just in a bubble. You're just, you don't have any flexibility or freedom to make choices. But today, the way that we can make choices is so much different because we have a wealth of information. So I want to go back to this, the first photograph that I showed you all about the wigs. Okay, I would try to go to the wig shop with alone or either with my sisters. And basically, like I said, there were only 4 choices. I had the very short look. I had there was the blonde look, the little curly look, the straight black and white salt and pepper look. Those just really were not for me. So, a lot of people ask me, well, why do you wear a wig if you have alopecia? And my answer to them is, it's my choice. I can wear a wig if I want to, or I don't have to wear a wig. For me, I am cold most of the time. And for everyone that knows me, yeah, I am cold most of the time. Even in the 90-degree weather, I am cold. I just do not like breezes coming across me. And I wear my wig a lot. I cover, sometimes it just depends on how I feel. But you know what? It's my choice. I can do whatever I want to. So my mind goes back to a story of one day I walked into a room and it was full of people. Now, the Friday before, I had, because I usually change my wigs on a Friday or over a holiday, before I really became comfortable with just being who I am. So on a Friday, I left with one short wig. And then on Monday, I came in with this big Chaka Khan look because I like Chaka Khan's look back in the 70s. Okay. And I always wanted that look. So I walked into the room and this person looked at me and just ran around the room telling other people, look, look. And I mean, she was really busy that day. And I just went and sat down and just kind of tried to mind my own business, but I still could see that people were looking and kind of whispering. And then this person walked into another door, a different door, and walked over to me and said, wow, I just love your hair. That looks great. How can I get one? I'm going on a date night this next weekend with my husband, and I want one of those. And what I said to her is, I will go and get it for you. Do you want 1B33? Do you want platinum blonde? Do you want fire engine red? Do you want purple? What do you want? Because you see, there are options. And so when you have options, you can choose whatever you want. She wanted the platinum blonde. So on the next slide, you will see that my options are unlimited. It's however I feel. If I want to go and rock my ball, I will go and rock my ball. If I want to wear a big Shaka Khan wig, I will do that as well. If I want to go short and just a swoop, I will do that. Curly, I'll do that too. Blonde, platinum blonde, strawberry, it does not matter, because you know what? I have options, and I can make my own choices. And that is the most important thing now. That empowers you when you can make your own choices. But you have to make sure that you actually sit down and determine what you need, what you want, who is your support system. How do you choose what are the pros and the cons for your options? So when you choose, you are empowered. I want to say that again. When you choose, you are empowered. Now, one of the problems with making choices or going through this whole process is choice fatigue. Now, does anyone here know what choice fatigue is? If you do, give me a thumbs up, give me something in the chat to let me know. Okay, I got a lot of people that know what choice fatigue is. That is when you have so many options, you just cannot make a choice. I often tell people, if you want to be able to make a choice, you need to narrow those options down. And how you narrow them down is you begin to rank them. And once you rank them, come up with about 4 choices or 4 options so that you can make a good choice. Now, another thing that is a problem with the process is other people's opinion. When it's a family member, it's hard not to listen to their opinion. But here's how you handle that. You ask them, what are you afraid of for me? What are you afraid of for me? That will create a dialogue so you can understand what it is that is really bothering their heart. Because you got to remember, our family members love us. They are on the sideline watching us go through this whole journey of alopecia. You know what? I forgot to do this earlier, and I want to do it now. We have a lot of parents who are trying to help their kids navigate through this. And I can remember my mom when I was growing up, and how it was just very difficult for her to watch me go through this. And as parents, it's difficult for us to watch our children go through anything. But you know what? I know we have some parents on here, and I know my mother is going to watch this later. I want to give all the parents some love. Now, let's give them some love. Y'all put some hearts in the chat. Put some hearts in the chat. Let's give all the parents love. We are here to support you all, parents. We know that it is difficult, but we are here. Look at all those hearts. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Naf. And as I stated, our family members, when they're giving us their opinion, it's because they love us and they just don't want to see us hurt. But the opinions of others, I've gotten to the point in life, I really don't care. As long as I have my family around me and I know that they love me, it is just, this journey is ours. It is no one else's. People can give us their opinion about, what they think, but we have to make sure that whatever we do it for ourselves. Another thing is not taking action. You have to take action. You have to sit down and write your plan out. For a lot of people, we keep stuff in our head just constantly over and over, thinking about it, finding research, trying to determine in our head back and forth what's best, what we should do, what we should not do. But you got to take action on paper. Action on paper actually gives you a visual. It gives you something to work with. If this doesn't work, I can mark this out and I can work on this. That's the reason why you have to write it down. Now, I want to talk about leverage. Leverage. There are a lot of us who have used different things in our life to leverage how we make good choices. But what I want everybody to do right now is I want you just to close your eyes and I want you to really think about a time where you made a good choice. Think about how you felt at that time when you made that choice. Think about how your heart felt. What were the determining factors for that choice? And then how did you celebrate yourself for making that choice? Okay, now you can open your eyes. Basically, I have laid out a plan where you actually can kind of figure out how to make the best choice for right now. Sometimes we make choices and we think we have to stick with it. Well, I can tell you right now, I'm very indecisive. I'll stick with a choice and then I go back and say, that may not be working for me right now. Who said we had to be married to choices? You can change your choices. You can divorce one choice, sit it to the side, and then come back to it later. It does not matter. You know why? Because you get to choose. You're the one that is making the choice. So make it. If it doesn't work, go back to the drawing board, try it again, change some of the options, change some of your support, change your needs and wants. As long as you continue to put in the work to make a good choice. Judy, I want to go to some questions right now and just answer a few questions from all the people on the webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. I'm going to read off one of the questions.
Okay.
And it is, hello, I'm from Peru. Lately, I've been through a loving rejection. This person said my universal alopecia had nothing to do with it, but I think in circumstances where I had not lost my hair, things would have been different. How do I deal with rejection in this kind of situation?
You know, rejection is very difficult. It has been one of the things that has actually made me sometimes doubt myself as a person because everybody wants to belong and everybody wants to be loved. And I can tell you this, if that person was not willing to stand beside you and because of alopecia, that may not have been the person for you. I know I spoke about my husband. It was very difficult for me to tell him that I had alopecia, but I think his character made him the person that I knew I needed to be with just based off the answer that he gave me when I told him that it was just falling out. I know that's very difficult for you, and my heart goes out to you. You never should feel that a person, and I really don't, I just hate using that word rejection when we're talking about relationships. It just may not have been the right fit, and they just did not really know how to tell you. But don't you doubt yourself. You keep moving, and that right person, I can promise you this, that right person will come.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. There's another question, and it says, I have been able to hide my alopecia for over 10 years. I'm currently at over 50% loss. I have not told anyone except for my dermatologist and my husband. How do I disclose my alopecia publicly, and what types of responses and questions should I expect?
Okay. One of the things is you can do a public disclosure, or you can do private, you can do a mixture. I tell who I want that I have alopecia sometimes. Like if I meet people for the first time and we're just talking, I will tell them. There are times where people can just see that I have alopecia. It depends on what you are comfortable with. I would say if you're going to do it, actually sit down and kind of write it out and figure out, who is your support system? Who's going to support you? I know some people who have alopecia, and while they were telling other people, they had people support people around them just so that they could feel empowered. It just depends on how you want to do it. I would say if you feel like that will free you, go ahead and do it. There's so many ways that you can do it. You can start with a few people that you trust and just kind of uh, see how that feels. Um, if you want to just go full disclosure to everyone as a whole group, I can tell you, when I take my wig off and some people see me, there is applause. I mean, people are just very happy because we all have something very unique about us. I think alopecia is so unique, but for me, it is a gift. I have found it to be a gift, and you can as well. Just determine what feels best for you and then go with it, because you get to choose. No one else, you get to choose.
Great answer. Thank you, Dr. Martin. I have another one which mentions the word reject, but I will want to read it to you. What about when your mother rejects you because of it?
That's a hard one right there. That is a hard one. I would say you need to have that conversation, have a dialogue about what it is. But I'm thinking that mom may just fear um, of other people possibly rejecting you and just does not know how to handle it. I think that's a process that you really gonna have to go through together and just try to figure out what's the disconnect. What is she really feeling? And I think once you get to the root of that, then you all can kind of see kind of eye to eye about what's going on.
Thank you. Somebody asked, what choices are we talking about here? Whether to wear a wig, what kind of wig, or are we talking about something bigger? I don't understand what kinds of choices you mean. Can you give me some examples of some specific choices I need to be making now?
Okay. And a lot of people are here for a lot of different reasons because we all have different choices that we have to make. So oftentimes when I'm looking at making a choice, it is whatever is pressing, whatever is bothering me. That's when I actually sit down and determine what choice I need to make. Now, let me give you an example. Disclosure. There have been situations where I may have wanted to disclose it to someone at my job, but I didn't want to disclose it to someone else. That's a choice. So we could be talking about an array of things that you can make choices of. Some people are trying to make a choice about their actual treatment plan. How do they move forward with that? Some people are making choices about their children and how do they actually disclose it to schools, or how do they speak to friends about their child's condition. It just depends on what you need.
Thank you. I've been diagnosed with alopecia areata since I was 3, and I keep my alopecia very discreet. I am a performer, and I find it very difficult to communicate with coaches about my condition. How should I go about this?
Yeah. It depends on if you feel that there would, for instance, if this is a job, do you feel that possibly you could lose your job if you disclose it? There are some people who feel that way, and you definitely want to just determine what is the actual fear. And once you determine what the fear is, I think you'll be able to move forward. I can almost guarantee you there is someone there that would support you on that. It's very hard when you want to disclose it, when you want to just keep it from everyone in fear of them not thinking that you can actually do a specific task, or that you're not good enough for where you are. But it should not be that way. It should not be that way. You should always be able to feel comfortable with whoever you are, no matter what setting you are in.
Okay. And moving on to the next one, is it possible not to accept the condition and live in a constant of self-blame and sense of isolation? With this diagnosis, I feel like I'm never going to be able to recover emotionally from this. Sometimes I even think any other disease was better. I'm sorry if I use those words.
Okay. Read that to me again, Judy, because there are a couple of things that I heard in there, and I want
Okay.
to make sure that I actually address them.
Is it possible not to accept the condition and live in a constant of self-blame and sense of isolation? With this diagnosis, I feel like I'm never going to be able to recover emotionally from this. And sometimes I even think any other disease was better.
Right. Accepting alopecia can be difficult. It really can. And you have to determine what is it that you're not able to accept. Is it that you have lost your hair? Is it that people will reject you? Is it that I don't know whether this is a younger person, or maybe someone that is at an age where they're dating and they're afraid that someone will not want to date them. That is very difficult. But the thing about it is you have to do the emotional work in order to be able to move forward. I can tell you, I've been at every point of emotions. I have been up, I have been down, I have been at every point. But let me tell you something. I never gave up. I kept moving. And I know, Judah, I'm getting ready to go into my resilience, my resilience talk. I kept moving. I would not give up on myself. I had people around me that would not give up on me. And that's what kept me going. And eventually I got to the point where I accepted it. I stopped isolating myself and started living. I began to enjoy myself in life, because it's great out here. It is wonderful out here. With a wig, without a wig, with alopecia, without alopecia, you gotta keep moving. I know it's hard, but you gotta keep moving. You got to. You have got to.
Yes, you did go into resilience, but we all love
I did.
breakout sessions. So thank you for adding that.
Okay.
I have another question. How do you recommend supporting friends and family with alopecia?
And that's a difficult one, because sometimes people will blame themselves, family members will blame themselves. And I know we had that question from the person that said that their mother, um, something about will not accept it.
Oh,
Sometimes,
rejecting her. Yeah.
yeah, sometimes that's about blame. Maybe that parent is blaming, she's blaming herself. And I know as parents, sometimes we do try to find a reason for something happening with our kids, that maybe it was something that we did. And so that may be a conversation for that person that previously asked that question. That may be the conversation that they need to have. But family members, oftentimes, I remember I would be embarrassed. I would feel embarrassed for my family members that maybe when other people were looking at me and I felt embarrassed, but it got to the point where my family actually kind of took it personal. Like it was like if someone said something to me or looked at me, they felt like they looked at them, and family usually comes to your defense. They are very supportive.
Okay, thank you. I think we still have, yes, we still have time for a few more questions. We have many questions coming in. We're trying to
Okay.
sort through them. But how do you respond when people approach you thinking you have cancer when you're not wearing a head covering?
Yeah, and that is something that, because that's a totally different journey. You know, you have people who are really fighting for their life, and when you have alopecia, and you look at people that are fighting for their lives, you kind of look at it differently. And sometimes I will have people that ask me, you know, but I mean, it's just an educational moment. We just make it a teachable moment and just tell them that it's actually alopecia, explain it to them, and we move on.
Okay, and I don't know if this is probably a difficult question to answer in a short, but I will ask it. It was, what are some ways to overcome the emotional and psychological impact of alopecia?
You have to have that community support. That community support is so important. So I told you I didn't have the availability of counseling because of our financial situation. But the one thing that my mother did was she kept us in community. And for us, it was going to church, it was being around family and friends. That community aspect is so important. You need it.
Okay, I think we have time. Yes, we have time for another one. I've been trying to decide if I should stop wearing wigs in public. My husband doesn't want me to, but the kids think I should.
Mm.
How do I make the decision when I'm being pulled in different directions and it's family?
Yeah. So I remember when I began, because I do it on and off. It just depends on how I feel, because that's my choice. But my kids really, really told me, hey, go without your wig. My husband was like, go without your wig. If that makes you feel comfortable, go without your wig. And for some people, it is difficult for them to actually watch you go out in public and not have on your wig. And I think a lot of it is from love and fear, that they don't want anybody to actually hurt you or hurt your feelings. And that's understandable. But you have to do what's best for you. If you feel that you want to be free from wearing a wig, then be free. If you want to wear your wig all the time, then do that. If you want to do a mixture, I do a mixture. And that's what I like. I do a mixture and it's just fine. But you have to choose.
Okay, I think I have time for one more, and this is our
Okay.
last question for tonight. It's, I am a 58-year-old single woman and have had alopecia universalis since I was 9 years old. I wore wigs for years and finally got tired of hiding my condition, so I have just worn hats for years, which does not fully hide it. Last week, a man approached me in a parking lot and asked me if I was a man or a woman, and I was surprised and pretty devastated. Always thought I looked feminine even without my hair, feeling really discouraged and mad because I do not want to wear a wig, but I don't want people not knowing my gender or possibly wondering if I'm a man or a transgender. I felt like I lost a lot of the confidence and freedom to be content being me. Any suggestions of how to cope with this? I just need to be heard, and I'm thankful to have this community to be here today.
Mhm. So, first of all, you know who you are, and it does not matter. You said that was a stranger. What does it matter? Will you see or know this person a week from now, a month from now? You know who you are. I can remember when I got the opportunity to go to the dermatologist, I actually was given a prescription for male pattern baldness. I really did not understand that at the time, but I knew how I felt. I felt feminine, and that's the way that I was going to leave it. It did not matter what the patch said, and it does not matter what the man said to you in the parking lot. You know who you are, and that's all that matters.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. We'll wrap it up now. So I will thank you for answering all of those questions. I'm going to share my screen now.
Okay.
And actually, before I share my screen, I believe you wanted to share something before we end it. So we'll do it
Yes.
before I share my
So
slides.
I always come with a gift. And on tomorrow, Judy and the staff will actually upload a worksheet. Now, here's the deal. I'm an educator, so you all know I always give homework. I want you to do the homework. Let me tell you something. 50 years ago, when I walked down that narrow street with all uncertainty about what this journey would be, I never imagined that this path would eventually lead me to growth, discovery, and transformation. I now look at alopecia as being a gift. It has been a wonderful gift because it has shown me how to be compassionate and kind to others. It has also shown me how to serve others. I serve others every day. And I tell you, it is a joy that I find because that is one of my values, is finding joy. And so I know a lot of you in the community have similar experiences as I do. But let me tell you something a friend told me. She said, you get to choose. I was trying to determine about something else that has nothing to do with alopecia. But what she told me was, you get to choose. And I started thinking about that statement. That is a powerful statement. You get to choose. You get to choose your health care. You get to choose disclosure, a non disclosure. You get to choose who your support system is, what are your wants, your needs. You get to choose. And so when I tell you from experience, I'm not telling you something that I read in a book. I'm telling you something that I have lived, and many of you have already lived this as well. But I want to tell you the power of choosing. You get to choose. No one else, you get to choose. So, what I want you to do, I'm going to give you all 2 challenges. Now, the challenge 1 is I want you to get into action. I want you, that worksheet that we're going to upload, I want you to actually sit down and do the work. Put the work into it and determine what choice you actually need to make. Once you see it on paper, then it will become crystal clear as to what you need to do. And then challenge 2 is that you need to make this personal. Make this personal. And what do I mean about making it personal? You choosing. Because you get to choose. I started saying that statement to myself. Oh, I get to choose? You get to choose. I want to hear you say it. I get to choose. Say it louder. I get to choose. Put your name in there. Juanita gets to choose. Say it. I want to hear it. Yes, you get to choose. So, Judy, I think I heard them. I think I heard them. Let me hear y'all say it one more time. In fact, yell it. I get to choose. Yep, I heard it. All the way down here in Georgia, I heard them say, I get to choose. That's a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement now. Now let's get to work. Let's get to work. Let's do the work. and let's keep it moving.
Thank you so much, Dr. Juanita. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
So to wrap this amazing webinar, to wrap it up, I want to thank again Dr. Martin and to you in the audience for joining us today. Please share your feedback on today's webinar and help us plan future presentations. A link to a short survey will pop up in your browser window at the end of the webinar, and your feedback is appreciated. And it's not too early to start planning for the annual NAF conference. NAF will be hosting its 40th annual conference in Chicago from June 26th through June 29th, 2025. The conference is a great place to connect with the alopecia areata community with educational programs, support sessions, research updates, and social activities for all ages, including a children's camp. We expect registration to open in February, so you can scan the QR code here to sign up for our interest list, and we will notify you when registration is open. And join us for our next webinar, Identity and Self-Acceptance with Alopecia Areata, a community panel discussion. Living with hair loss from alopecia areata is a key part of identity for some individuals. For adults who develop the condition during childhood, patchy hair or no hair may be all they have ever known, while others have navigated the journey of accepting and embracing their disease after its onset later in life. In this conversation, community members will discuss their personal experiences with alopecia areata, explore how it has shaped their identities, and share their perspectives on the availability of new treatments. Your panelists will be Dr. Carolyn Goh, Lindsay Sullivan, Tyrone Folliott-Olson, Heather Madison, and Shamsha Damani. This webinar will take place on Thursday, January 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Registration is now open, so you can scan the QR code here to register. And there is a lot happening at NAF. And how can you keep up? You can subscribe to our email list and get regular updates. As Dr. Martin mentioned, support is key. It's key, so please make sure to subscribe. And if you are added onto this email list, you can get regular updates on breaking alopecia areata news and research, our monthly NAF electronic newsletter, along with notices about upcoming webinars, research, and other programs. If you are not on our list, please scan the QR code here to enter your email address to receive our emails. And don't forget that NAF offers a number of resources and programs to the alopecia areata community, including support groups, our youth mentor program and the legislative liaison program, the Doctor Finder clinical trial listings, as well as our annual conference. To learn more about NAF and the resources we offer, please visit naf.org or email us at support@naf.org. And this concludes today's webinar program. Thank you again to Dr. Martin for this amazing webinar, and thank you all for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on the next webinar.